and welcome to my second Highs and Lows episode. So every year, if you're not aware, I record a Highs and Lows for personal and a Highs and Lows for business. And they are exactly what they sound like. I talk about all the amazing highlights from the year and then maybe more the challenging parts of the year as well. And as much as this is about creating shows for the podcast, it's also, it gives me such a wonderful opportunity to really stop, pause, reflect on the year, because if your years are anything like my years, they can rip past in the blink of an eye. And sometimes things that happened 3 months ago, it feels like it was almost 2 years ago. So it's a really lovely opportunity to really, stop, take stock, and particularly before planning ahead for next year as well. So in this episode, I'm going to be taking you through my business highs and my business lows. And before I do that, I just want to remind you that my elevated strategy method is now available. So what I've essentially done with this is I've packaged all the process that I would work if you and I are a one-on-one mentee and we were working together. I've packaged up all of the thinking, the methodology, the hints, the tricks, the exercises, and I've packaged them into one program, which is called the Elevated Strategy Method. It is my first ever full holistic business and personal life strategy, and I'm really, really excited for it. So it's available right now. In it, you will get a pack of training videos from me. You will also get an audio visualization exercise. You will get a stuffed to bursting playbook. It's a 36-page playbook, and every single template in there is just solid gold. And I also personally walk you through. So just yesterday afternoon, as I'm recording this episode, I recorded Loom videos, which is where I'm on camera stepping you through every single worksheet so that you know exactly how to go about the process. So that is available right now. I'll pop a link in the show notes for you so you can grab it yourself as well. So I'm going to drive straight in. So the first business high of this year was my Magnificence program. So if you're not familiar with my Magnificence program, it is my top tier mentoring program. And in it, there is a blend of very intensive one-on-one with me over 12 months, and then also the connection with the other group within the Magnificence program. So this is for women doing 7 figures plus within their business. And this is the third year in a row that I have run it. And it has just been my favorite year yet in Magnificence. It's been really, really special. And I think what's been really special this year is it's being able to walk alongside these women and the incredible businesses that they're growing. And, you know, it's not necessarily about everything's always rosy and it's wonderful. Like the episode I recorded recently with Claire and Brooke, who are two of my Magnificence program mentees. There's challenges. The bigger the business and the bigger the wins, the bigger the challenges become. So I actually find in the Magnificence program, there's quite a lot of polarity in that program because yes, the highs are huge, but then the lows can be really, really challenging and really destabilizing. So I get to walk this path alongside these women. And because we've worked together for so long, we know each other really, really well. I know them so well that, you know, sometimes now on Magnificence program sessions, one-on-one sessions, they'll get on and say, okay, I need to focus on this today. And actually where we land is somewhere completely different, but it's almost that's what they really needed to focus on within that session. And we've just had a huge amount of fun, you know, whether it's one-on-one, each of them individually, or with the broader group. We went on our retreat to the Central Coast in May this year, and I think we just laughed nonstop for 3 days. It was absolutely fucking hilarious. It was so good. And again, you know, the bigger the businesses, the more serious life and business can start to feel. So I think that levity that they bring together it's so fun, but I think it's also very, very necessary because it's almost, if you think about a pressure cooker building and building and building, and you and I we've both been there at different points. When we have some fun and we let off some steam and we feel very safe and very seen by the group that we're with, we just feel like different people, you know? So I actually think that levity and that fun and that giddiness has been almost part of the recipe for success for Magnificence program this year. It's been really, really special. And another big high from this year in business-wise has been Bold Darling. So both the mastermind level growing, which is the group-only mentoring level of Bold Darling, and also the VIP group growing as well. So the VIP group is almost full. There's one last spot left in VIP as I'm recording this right now. I really do reflect back on Bold Darling, and I launched it in 2022, in early 2022. So it's coming up on 4 years in February next year that I actually launched Bold Darling. And it has felt like a very steady, a very sustainable, a very solid growth burn. So it has grown consistently year on year. And some of the biggest growth actually came after the second launch that I did in August with the team. So it's just felt like this steady grower. It's been a core part of my business now for almost 4 years. And just seeing last week, we had our quarterly planning day. So we get together every quarter to do our quarterly planning. However, twice a year, that's in person. So we had that last week. So I had Thursday was all day with the mastermind level and VIPs. And then Friday was just the VIP members alone. And just seeing the numbers in the group swell each time, and the connection that these women have, so much shared experience that they have as well. You know, when we're doing any sharing and women are saying, oh my God, I feel that way too. And yes, I had that exact same problem. Or I've already fixed that in my business. Let me send you details for someone who helped me. Just that shared experience it's just incredible. And we went for drinks on Thursday evening as a whole group. And I left at 7. So we were out for drinks for over 2 hours. I left at 7 and the group was still going. Like there was a pretty solid group still going. And, you know, not from a view of getting absolutely wasted or pissed or anything. They're just really enjoying the novelty of being around like-minded women who were fun, who were supportive, who were ambitious, you know, who weren't mean girls. There's a very, very, very special energy in Bold Darling. And honestly, I wish I could bottle it and give it to every single business owner, but you have to come in to experience it for yourself. But just that mutually supportive energy, it's incredibly powerful. So that has been, a wonderful high this year. And then just that, I guess the group within the group in terms of the VIP group, just the intimacy and the support that they show each other. It's, very, very special part of my business. I'm so grateful for it. In terms of a low from the business this year, this is more kind of relating to the first half of this year. I did a huge amount of one-on-one. So I did the total, I have this package, I had this package called Power Quota Mentoring, which is 3 months of one-on-one mentoring with me. And I don't know what happened or what shifted, but it just went off. The first half of this year, I think I had 10 mentees at that level. And they were incredible women. I loved working with them. We got some incredible results together. And I fully showed up for every single one of those women. However, the challenge for me in my business was that pretty much meant for the whole first half of this year, I was not working on my own business. So when I'm doing one-on-one mentoring, obviously it's me in my business. I am the delivery. I am the product. So that made it very, very difficult then for me to find the time to actually work on the more leveraged offers and my content. I just didn't have the capacity or the time to actually focus on that. I was mentoring a lot. And normally I would have Mondays, my Monday Momentum Day, which I think we almost exclusively protected this year. But Friday was meant to be more of a kind of on business, long lunches, like networking type focus. And that just got completely consumed by mentoring in the first half of this year. And I had a hair appointment one morning at around 10 a.m. and I went and sat in a bakery and had a cup of tea before my hair appointment. I was early. And I just mapped out, okay, what are the changes I need to make right here? Because my beautiful friend Jules talks a lot about that everything has a price. And of course, I was making brilliant money from working with that amount of one-on-one mentees. However, the price of that was I didn't have any time to work on my leveraged offers, which would free me up in future. Does that make sense? So the one-on-one mentoring and the scale of it was great because it was instant, it was immediate cash injections. However, it wasn't enabling me to build out my elevated strategy method program, which is a program that I can run and will run completely evergreen, pretty much for the indefinite future. That will be a product that I can sell. So I found that really difficult. And when I did that kind of list to myself in that bakery that very, very cold June morning, something I really wanted was I wanted to get my Fridays back. Those days are really, really important to wrap up the week, have some time to charge my own batteries, plan ahead for the following week. And I just wasn't getting to that. I was completely consumed by one-on-one mentoring. So that is something that I have really considered when it goes into planning my 2026. And as I'll have already shared in a previous episode, I'm pretty sure as you're listening to this, I'm cutting back a lot on my one-on-one mentoring next year, purely because I love it. I love it so much, but it is not giving me the time to spend on actually designing my more scalable and implementing and selling my more scalable offers, like online programs, for example, like Bold Darling. So something I have done is I've created a 12-week intensive mentoring container, and that's called the Elevator. And that essentially is going to replace Power Quota mentoring. So the Elevator has a little bit of one-on-one in it, but it's more built around group mentoring. Again, just a much more leveraged way for me to work, and also for me to help more women. You know, if I've got 1 hour with one woman doing one-on-one, I can have 1 hour with 15, 20 women doing a bigger container, running a bigger container. So that feels really good. And I feel really, really excited for that as well. So essentially what that's going to look like is that for my one-on-one mentoring, it will only be available in my Magnificence program, in Bold Darling VIP, and within the Elevator. So essentially it's in formalized containers like that. Another high from this year was Success Without Sacrifice. So this was an in-person event that I hosted in Sydney. And then off the back of that in-person event, we then designed a free 1-hour masterclass, which essentially became my next launch for Bold Darling back in August. And it was a new concept. It was brand new content. It was new branding. It was a new model. Everything was new. And I loved it. And the team absolutely loved it as well. We found this incredible venue. I really wanted this to be a very luxe, high-touch event for anyone coming. So we found this stunning event which overlooked the whole of Sydney Harbour. The food was incredible. The interior was beautiful. We had a beautiful day. It was just like, chef's kiss. So good. And as I said, then off the back of that, then we launched Bold Darling. So we ran that free masterclass as well. This was the first launch for me that the ads really worked. I could actually see, okay, this is it. This is the little slipstream that we're trying to step into. So the ads went super well. We also increased the pricing for Bold Darling, which felt like a really scary thing to do. That was very much a strong suggestion from my coach. So we increased the price quite significantly, and very interesting, we brought in even more members than we had the previous launch, where the price was significantly less. And the caliber of women who stepped in this time are like next level. Incredible. So that launch, I said to Wade over coffee, because I knew the launch was going very, very well. And I said to him, if I didn't make $1 from this launch, but I got the confidence that I'm feeling now in the offer and my ability to sell it, I said it would have been worthwhile. All this work would have been worthwhile just to have this incredible confidence that I have discovered as part of this. Because essentially what happened with that launch is that we had women who saw an ad on Facebook or Instagram for an event called Success Without Sacrifice. This is the free masterclass. They came to the masterclass. They were so connected with what I was sharing and trusting of me that they then got on a discovery call with me, having never heard of me a week beforehand. And then they jumped into Bold Darling, and most of them signed up for 12 months and paid up front for 12 months. So we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, to me, that is, I actually got quite emotional a few times during that launch, just going, I am so grateful that these women trust me so much. And of course, with that gratitude, I am going to show them the best experience within Bold Darling. That gratitude is not going to go to waste. I'm going to create an incredible experience for them. So that was a huge high. The confidence, obviously it was a great revenue generator, but it really made me super confident going into more online marketing models and promotion models next year. Now, the next high, this is always on here, the highs, was Bali. So we hosted another incredible retreat in Bali in May of this year. Another sold out retreat, incredible women. 2 women actually came back. They were there last year. And before they even left in May last year, they booked to come back again a year later. So, there is no higher praise or flattery than them wanting to come back. So it was another incredible retreat. Women so bonded, just so willing to lean in and do the work for themselves and for everyone that they loved. And we had the same team. Clara Bede came back and hosted the Miracle Mornings. We had Jimmy, my incredible healer, who's my healer in residence for all of my retreats in Bali. And we did Quantum Flow with Geordie. It was just magical, absolutely magical. And I'm already super excited to run that again in June next year. As I guess an associated low with Bali, I was actually supposed to do a second retreat in Bali. There was supposed to be a second one in October this year. And around August, we had a number of people book in, and I was kind of seeing the Kajabi emails come in. I was like, cool, yeah, we'll book it out. It's not till October. This is great. And then we had one person drop out because she needed to have surgery, and her surgeon was only available that week. And I messaged Sam. I was sitting next to the swimming pool watching Lex's swimming class. And I messaged Sam after I received the message from the guest who was stepping out. And I said to her, where are we sitting with Bali? How many people have we actually got? And she messaged back and she said, with that person gone, we've now got 4. And I was like, okay, it's the middle of August. And I knew I could fill that retreat. Like, I knew that if I just doubled down, marketed, told a story of the incredible the women who come and the transformations that I knew I could fill it. But the problem with the timing was in August, I was right smack bang in the middle of the Bold Darling launch. So there's just no ability for me to go, okay, yeah, join Bold Darling, and then come to Bali, and join Bold Darling, and then come to Bali. It's just too mixed of a message for my community. So right there by the pool, I was weighing up the pros and cons, and I said, I don't think I can go ahead with this retreat. So it's the first ever Bali retreat that I haven't gone ahead with. Of course, immediately reached out to each of the women that had booked. We made a plan for them going forward. And it's always horrible to let people down. And I knew, when I'm so closely connected with my community and I know the stories behind why they're coming on retreat. So that sucked so hard having to have those conversations. And they were so beautifully understanding and gracious with me and me making that decision. The next, I guess, level of that decision became, okay, well, if you're not going to Bali, that's an entire week that you can pack with work. And I kind of checked myself and said, hang on a second, Lorraine, you haven't actually gone on a proper week-long retreat yourself since 2023. And of course I go and I stay in Bali for a few days before all of my retreats, but it's always getting ready for the retreat. Like, it's quite a productive energy, and I don't really relax because I'm getting so excited to host all these incredible women on this retreat. So I actually said, no, I'm going to take a week where I'm going to go on a retreat myself. And I went to Bali as planned, and I had a beautiful week of just complete recharge and reset. And it turns out, if you've listened to my personal highs and lows episode, that there were a couple of periods of quite intense overwhelm this year, and Bali actually landed just right in the middle of one of them. And it was just the perfect soulful pattern interrupt to the space that I had been in, getting on that plane, going over. So funnily enough, I had already decided earlier on this year that I would only run the Bali retreat once next year. And then it just so happened that October, the numbers were less, and I decided to, pull the pin reasonably early on it. But we are doing it next year. It's going to be happening the first week of June. And as I'm recording this, there's only a handful of spots left. This episode is going out in a month. Yes, I think it's going out in a month's time. So the retreat may be sold out by the time you listen to this, but if you check the show notes, the link will be in there. The link is in there, then yes, there are spots available for you. And I would really, really love to have you join me. I honestly think with that experience, it gets better every single year that we do it, because we get better and we find, even more little ways to wow and create that wonder for our guests. So yeah, it's definitely something that gets even better the more that we do it. And, it's just, I remember we've got 2 interconnecting villas in Bali, and I walked from one villa to the other after I think it was one of my workshops. And I just had this wave of emotion just wash through me, and I just burst into tears standing by the pool of just going, I get to do this. Like, I get to work here. I've been barefoot for pretty much 5 days straight. And I get to create this magical experience for these women that I know is going to change their lives. It's just, wow. Bali gives me massive wow energy. It's really, really, really special. So another high was the team. So Sam, my operations manager, just got even more amazing this year. She's been absolutely incredible. Stacey, our graphic designer, has been amazing. We've got an extended creative team who've been just they've just been so proactive, and they've so grasped the vision of all the different new things that we've created and the rebrands that we created. We've really elevated a lot of different elements of the business this year. They've just been incredible. They just feel rock solid, and it feels like they're really on the journey with me. They've just been really, really incredible. I guess as an associated low on the team side of things, we've really struggled with a couple of roles in the team. The first role was a marketing manager. So we had 2 different marketing managers last year. I finally hired a third, and I was like, this is the person. And then in March this year, it just became clear that she was not the person. And actually, did we even need a marketing manager? Given that that's an area that when I have the time and the space to do it, I actually really enjoy it. So we ended the marketing manager role, and we haven't hired another marketing manager since. And instead, we have brought in more specialists. So for example, we've got a specialist now on meta ads, which has been really, really helpful. The other role that we've really struggled with is the VA role. So we lean quite heavily on our VAs because they manage ActiveCampaign, they manage some elements of Kajabi, they manage all of the email scheduling, split testing, all the stuff that I will never ever touch in my own business because I will just break it instantly. So we've had 2 different VAs this year. One VA who'd been with us for quite a while and pretty much just went off the boil. It's the only way I can describe it. And then we had a second VA who initially seemed really great, but again, went off the boil as well. So Sam, bless her, went back to the drawing board again. And she has found Alexandra, who is living in New Zealand and is incredible. She is the safest pair of hands we have ever had in that role, and just really proactive as well. So that has felt like an absolute weight off myself and Sam's minds this year because, as I said, that role was really tricky for many years. I don't feel like we ever found our person. We found people who were good, borderline great. But the challenge with that role is we need them to be there consistently. And that was the challenge, that we kept coming up against. Another big high on the business front has been coaching. So I'm not shy about the fact that I invest a lot in my own growth, whether that is mentors or coaches or attending events or seminars, because I asked my community to do that. I asked my community to invest in mentoring with me. So of course, it stands to reason that I will also do that for myself. And what's really awesome, this has helped me get over the line a few times when I'm speaking to a new coach about working with them, and I'm like, oh God, it's a lot of cash, blah, blah, blah. And then I go, okay, Lorraine, half of the ROI for this is for you and the other half is for your mentees, because anything that I learn from my coaches, if it's relevant to my mentee, I pass it all on to them. So they kind of secondhand get to experience the coaching that I do as well. So I started working with Rebecca in April, and it was a very big stretch financially to invest with her. It was a very big stretch energetically to invest with her, and also time-wise. I didn't want to invest that amount of energy and cash in someone if I didn't have the bandwidth to actually implement whatever it was that we're creating and planning together. And, honestly, that was another factor when I hit that point around the middle of the year of just too much one-on-one, not getting time to work on my own business. It was because I felt like I was coming up with all these amazing insights in my coaching, but then I didn't have any time to actually iterate on that and make them a reality, which is really frustrating. If you're spending all this money, you want to be making the most of all those insights that you're getting. So just being in her orbit, and I find this every single time I've worked with a coach or mentor, particularly one-on-one, is just being in their orbit, being in their energy field is transformational in its own right. And then you get to tap their IP, their experience. How did you do that? How did you get over this problem? It is so incredibly helpful and so potent. So we did 6 months together this year, and I am starting again with her again. So we're going to do another 6 months in January. And for me, it is so indulgent to be on the receiving end of that coaching. I spend so much time being the one sharing my experience and sharing my models and my exercises and all the things. So to actually have someone else sharing it with me feels very, very special and very, very luxurious and very indulgent. Another really big high from this year, and this is something I spent a lot of time with Bold Darling on last week, actually, when we were in that quarterly planning day together, is I feel like what we've really achieved as a team is the perfect balance for me of maintaining and nurturing and investing in all of the core offers that make my business really successful, but at the same time having that injection of, I guess, sexiness, uncertainty, newness, innovation by creating new things. And, I very much swung on the opposite end of the spectrum in the past. I've just created new shit every 5 seconds. And as a result, there's so many different drawbacks to that. But one, you're just constantly running around creating new shit all the time. And then the second thing is your audience gets confused. I was creating so many things that I'm sure my audience's heads, 3-4 years ago was like spinning 360-degree spins, because they're saying, who are you? What are you here to serve? What are you here to teach me? Are you here to teach me around doing your cook-up? Are you here to teach me about relationship dynamics? Are you here to teach me about getting organized? Are you here to teach me about building businesses? It was just so confusing. So I think that this really beautiful sweet spot we've landed on this year is very much around deepening and loving on the existing offers, like the Magnificence program, like Bold Darling, like my Bali retreats. But at the same time, keeping 10% for like innovation and new things. And that Success Without Sacrifice event very much landed within that new things bucket this year. And then the beauty of it then is that there's things that from this year that I will absolutely continue and double down on next year. And there's things that I'll go, actually, that didn't really work super well. Probably put our energy into something else next year. So I feel like that balance of certainty versus uncertainty, I guess, again, you could say, I've really, really liked that. I've really thrived in that. And it's also been really good for the team because, me as the founder, I'm not flinging new shit at them every 5 seconds. Like they've actually been able to really find their rhythm and find their stride with the existing offers and really making them even more incredible. And they kind of have the parameters very clear as to how much new work is actually new projects are going to come through the business. And another high, my last high that I could probably do 50 of these. Another high has been my monthly recurring revenue has grown a lot this year. And this honestly has been the holy grail for me in terms of sales and structuring my business over the last couple of years. Because my first business was so lumpy. We would get a massive dump of revenue and then it would be crickets for the next quarter because I pretty much started every single quarter from scratch. And it's a very stressful way to be. It's very hard on your nervous system to be in that space. So about 3-4 years ago, I realized in this business, you've created another lumpy business, Lorraine. This is just too uncertain and too stressful. So it was very intentional about 3 years ago to really start focusing on the monthly recurring revenue. So the money that's coming in every month, it's committed. I don't have to go and chase it. I don't have to go out and start in next quarter building all that back up again. It's absolutely game changing. And I sleep so much better when I know that my monthly recurring revenue is sitting between 60 to 70K a month. Like it just completely changes my world because that comfortably pays the team. It comfortably pays me. It comfortably covers the core kind of recurring expenses within the business. It's just comfortable. And, again, going back to that whole theme of certainty versus uncertainty, I need to have that comfort and that certainty around the cash because that gives me that solid base to go off and create new things like Success Without Sacrifice or like the elevator. So that balance and holding that duality, that polarity is very, very important to me. And then I guess as an associated low this year in business, which may sound like a bit of a surprise given I've just said that monthly recurring revenue has gone so well this year, but we've had a couple of tight periods with cash flow. And this is very much because I have invested heavily in my brand this year. So as you can see, I'm recording this episode in a proper podcasting studio with video. We also have rebranded a number of different programs within my business. Creating a new event like Success Without Sacrifice is expensive because you're starting all the assets from scratch. So there's definitely been periods over this year where cash flow has been tighter than it's been for a long time. But, and what is a relief for me is I know exactly what's happened. We've invested in a number of photo shoots, like marketing, branding, visibility has, taken up a lot of budget this year. So that's something for me to be mindful of going into next year is that how can we make things more easy to rinse and repeat, essentially, because that's where the real cost efficiencies come from. So, for example, with me investing in the elevated strategy method, so that was 2 days of studio time, a videographer, a lighting and AV expert, so many dozens and if not hundreds of hours from Sam pulling it all together, then Alexandra, our VA, like the output is massive. But when that is something that I can sell every day for the next 3 to 5 years, then for me that is really, really worth the investment. But that investment has also meant that it's thrown the cash flow out somewhat at times as well. So everyone, I could honestly keep going. I could probably create another 10 highs and another 10 lows in business. But I think they're the most key ones that I'd want to share with you as part of today's episode. And also just want to remind you, this is a really good exercise for you to do yourself. Whether you've been in business a year or you've been in business 22 years or 25 years, take some time just to map out, what would your highs be from your business over the year and what would your lows be? And is that telling you a story? So the story that my highs and lows for business this year are telling me is the need for the certainty, the structure, the predictability, the solidness, and then having that wish for growth and excitement and stretching yourself at different times. So I guess the dance that we get to dance in business is, how do we nurture that sense of expansiveness and trying new things and growth, and then balancing that with the solidness that we require in order to show up and run our businesses day to day as well. So that's everything for my business highs and lows for 2025. I was actually thinking as I was coming over in the Uber to the studio this morning, how cool it would be to get a transcript of all the highs and lows episodes from the last 5 years and get chat to analyze them for themes. That could be pretty cool. I'd love to do that. So everyone, one last reminder that if you are kind of sitting here right now not knowing exactly what you're going to do in 2026, my Elevated Strategy Method program is ready for you right now. I have poured so much IP, so much structure, so much clarity into that for you. And I really hope you love it as much as I loved putting it together. There's a link in the show notes for that for you right now. Thank you everyone for joining this week's episode. I will chat to you again very soon.